Okay. So we're on Ayin Dalet Amud Beis by the Mishnah. So we'll do it again because the Gemara is going to be dealing with the Mishnah a lot. So can't just continue where we left off. So the Mishnah seems pretty simple, but the Gemara is going to analyze. If the Geneva, the Adim that say that he stole, so then he has to pay. But the case over here was that the testimony that he slaughtered it or sold it was only an Eirechad, which is not enough to be Mechayib, or he was Moed himself, Moed B'Knas Butter, so he's going to pay Kefil, he's not going to pay the Alad Pashat. It's another way of saying that Eirechad is not enough to be Mechayib, and that Al Piatzmo is not going to be Chayib because it's a Knas, and Moed B'Knas Butter. The Mishnah chose a case with a Kefil, could have said the whole thing, the Gemara's going to talk about it, they could have said that the whole story was Eirechad, and the Geneva also, and he doesn't pay for anything, only the Karen. But it gave a case where, and also Al Piyatzma both, but it gave a case where the Geneva was nothing to talk about, that was ready to wait him, and other case, the Tavach HaMochar was Eirechad, Al Piyatzma is not enough to be Mechayiv him, Eirechad is not enough, and Al Piyatzma is Moed B'Knas Pater. Next case is going to become Libid Rabbim. Really, the Gemara is going to only deal, that's what we have to have for the Gemara that we're going to do today. But just to read the Mishnah already, that Kamli B'Drabim Minay, Gonna B'Tavach B'Shabbos, Gonna B'Tavach L'Avodah Zarah. Those two cases, he's not going to be chayiv for the Dalet V'Hei because Kamli B'Drabim Minay, since it's chayiv Misa for slaughtering on Shabbos, slaughtering Avodah Zarah. Gonna Mishal Aviv Umeis Aviv V'Akach Tavach U'Machar. Here, he stole from his father, says chayiv Kefil, but then his father died, and now he Yarshins, but the other brothers also. If he's only Yorish, there's nothing to talk about. He pays himself. There's nothing to talk about. But the other Yorshim. So when he slaughtered it, he was part owner. So he didn't. The whole tficha wasn't bisa. What the Gemara says before, tabach kula bisa, and here since part of the ox belongs to him, so it wasn't all bisa, and therefore he's not going to be chayiv dal v'hei. The next case was that he's not chayiv dal v'hei for hektish. We're chazing over from yesterday to get back into things. For all these cases also, that is not chayiv dalad vei for slaughtering hektish, for stealing and slaughtering hektish. Rav Shimon says, I agree to you by Kachim that he doesn't have any responsibility for it. But it's okay, hektish is no chayiv dalad vei. But if the owner still has some gain from the hektish, because if it's going to get lost, whatever, like it was stolen and slaughtered, so he has to bring another korban. So that's called davar gam l'momen dami. That since it causes him money, so that's also considered money, and it's considered not hektish as far as this payment of dalet v'hei that he wanted to take away something which is worth to him a sheep. So therefore he would be chayiv. The Gemara goes back to the beginning, and the first thing is Pashat, and we said it's Pashat, Al Pi Erecha, that 1/8 is not enough to be Mechayiv here. So why does the Mishnah say that for? That goes without saying that Erecha is not enough to be Mechayiv. That's the most Kash Al Pi Erecha Pshita. And because of this, the Gemara goes into a long sugya. Amri Yaakov Mashman Al Pi Atzmo Dumi De Pi Erecha. The fact that the Mishnah puts together the two things, that Erecha, and it puts together with Al Piyatzma. Al Piyatzma is a chiddush. That Moed B'Knas is pater. That if he's Moed, he doesn't have to pay because it's a knas. That is a chiddush. But it wants to tell you that the P'tor is similar to the P'tor of Eid Echad. Ma Al Pi Eid Echad, Kiyas Eid Echad Mistarf Adei B'Chayev. Al Piyatzma Nami Kiyas Eid B'Chayev. That in Eid Echad it's not a P'tor. It's not an exemption. It just means that it's not enough to obligate him. But if there's another Eid going to come, so you can't say
later.
What?
Even 20 years later.
Even 20 years later. Taisva says that the way they might have come to bed together. The bottom line says that maybe you have to have the testimony should be together. So we'll call them up again. We have it on the records. There's an Eid Echad available someplace, and then somebody else comes eventually, so they'll come to Bezin together again. So it's not an exemption. You can't say, no, I'm put it because I had an Eid Echad. Eid Echad came against me. It's not a P'tor. It's just that it's not enough to obligate you. But if not, the Eid will come together. So you could be Chai. So also, Al Piyasmo is not a P'tor. You can't say, I got an exemption because I was Moda. It's just not enough to be mechayiv. But if eventually the Edom are going to come forward, so you're going to be chayiv. Yasvei the mechayiv. And
today the Shalom is oversloom. Is that a good Edish that they
is that a good testimony? Today with all the pictures and stuff, you can't know if anything is true. And
Photoshop.
Yeah. And this is against Rav Huna Marab, which we had. And that's to take sides. Moshe took Rav's side, that there is an exemption. and that's how we're going to paskin. So it's good to us to feel part of it. Rav says that once you're molded, that's an exemption, and even if Eidim come later on, you're still potter. So this Mishnah would be against him. So it's very interesting. The Gemara just brings down a Mishnah and says Rav is against Rav, and as if Rav's not, the Gemara's not going to slug up Rav. It wouldn't, doesn't disprove him. And we're going to see later on that Rav is going to have a way to explain the Mishnah. It isn't so simple. At this point, the Gemara says that the Mishnah is against Rav because it is Diuk. It's not Beferish, but the fact that it puts it together and it's Pshita, Al Pi Erechad, I wanted to tell you that Al Pi Yatzmo is not an exemption, it's just not enough to be B'chayiv. But if eventually Adam come, he would be Chayiv. Rav says not like that. Rav says, Moed B'knas, might as well highlight that. This is going to be our sugya now, and there's Rav, by the way. Even Rav Rav also might be interesting to put Rav Rav, and we'll see what's going to happen with that. He says Potter. What?
Does someone being modek plus an A count as two witnesses or something, or no?
No, I don't think so, because his own is if it would be regular money, not a kana, so then he's chayiv on his own alone. The Eidechad doesn't make a difference. And if it's a modeh b'knas, so he was modeh b'knas because the Eidechad couldn't do anything to him, so he'd be potter because not to weigh them against him. Okay, so this was Rav said modeh b'knas yachach is potter. The Gemara did say that the Mishnah is mashma that it's chayiv. So at this point, Rav is against the Mishnah. The Gemara continues. All these two dots over here you can take out because it's going to be one big sugya for a long time. That's what we just said. The Rav holds potter, and the Gemara has a kasha from Brisa. Rav Chisda said in the name of Rav, and now Rav Chisda is challenging Rav. And this was a story we learned yesterday. Rav Gamliel accidentally he blinded his Evet's eye. His name was Tavi, and it says Evet Kosher. Other places it says that he's Talmud Chacham, and he was very happy because now he's going to be able to go free. He wanted to free him, and he wasn't able to free him because of all the Mem Tapodu. You're not allowed to sleep in free in his Evet Kanani. And now that he accidentally but he did blind him, so he goes free, and he was happy. Did he hear the good news, Rabbi Yeshua, that my slave Tavi goes free? Why should that be? Because I blinded him, and if someone blinds his Eved Kanani, he goes free. It's nothing. You're wrong. There are no edim. It's only your own testimony. So that's why he doesn't go free. At the end of the circle, he doesn't go free. And we even have it under Gemara Brachas that when Tavi died, so Rabbi Gamliel was Makabal Tanchumen, he was still a Zevet till the end. Like it seemed like Gemara Chavizah pointed out that he was a Zevet until then. But the idea is that we sure said there are no Edim. If there'd be Edim, it's mashma that he would go free. Hayesh lo Edim Chayiv. Now, why should that be? He was Moda already. Rabbi Gamliel was Moda, and then even if you have Edim, it's too late because you're Moda. Mashma that Moda b'nas yachach bo Edim is Chayiv. That's a kasha of Chisda asked against Rav Huna in the name of Rav. So Rav Huna said it's not a kasha on Rav. Shani Ram Gamliel, the love of Fnei Bezdin Odi. It wasn't a good Hodah because he didn't go to Bezdin. He just told his friend Rabbi Yeshua. So that's not called it. And therefore, if there would be Eidim, so Rabbi Yeshua would say, so don't be Moda, go to bring the Eidim, tell the Eidim to come forth, and they'll say that you blinded him and he'll go free. But there are no Eidim. So it's not a kasha. It doesn't prove that if there would have been Eidim after the Hodah, that he'd be chayiv. It could be chayiv over here is a little bit confusing because he wants him to go free. So we're saying chayiv, but that's what he wants. But that's not. You have to put all the emotions aside. Chayiv means that he has to let him go. That he has to go free. So the diak was that if Yeshua said you have to weigh them, so he's not going to go free. But it could be because there was no because he wasn't Moda. But if he would have been Moda, if Eidim would come, he wouldn't go free. Am I saying right? He would not go free.
He would go free.
Again?
He would go free. That's why it's against Rav.
Yeah, now we're answering. Yeah, but I'm alay. But then at the bottom line, Rav Huna answered the question that he didn't go to Bezdin. He wasn't more than Bezdin.
Right.
Since he wasn't more than Bezdin, so if there be Eidim, let the Eidim come forward.
Right.
And then he'd have to let him free.
Right. If Edom came to Bezdin afterwards, even though he was moida, then he would have to let him free. Yeah,
That's
it's
what I'm saying.
against, against Rav. That's what
We're holding now. You're holding till here, but now Amalei is coming to support him, and he's saying that he wasn't moda in front of Bezdin. He told his friend Rabbi Yeshua,
right.
but he wasn't moda, and that's why Rabbi Yeshua said he's not going to go free because it's only your word. It's not a case because there are no Edom. If there would be Edom, let the Edom come before you're being moda. Before you're being moda, don't go to Bezdin. Let the Edom go, and then they'll go free. And that everybody holds that if Edom come before the Hodah. The reason why Rabbi Yeshua said that there are no Edom is because he wasn't yet moda. If he would have been moda, then it wouldn't have helped to make the Eved go free, even if Edom would come, because Rav is right. The one once saying now Rav is right. That Mod B'nas V'yachach Bo Edom is potter. And if Rav Gamliel would have been moda, then he wouldn't have gone free, even if Edom are going to come.
Right.
But you weren't moda, but there are no Edom.
No,
That's why he's not going free. But the Gemara says speaking to Rabbi Yeshua is like speaking to the Bezdin. But Rabbi Yeshua Bezdin Hava. So when Rabbi Gamliel told Rabbi Yeshua, it is like speaking to the Bezdin. The Gemara says he wasn't in the office. He wasn't in the Bezdin. Top line.
it wasn't Bezdin. It's one person.
Right. So the Gemara means if Rabbi Yeshua was in the business, and then there was also the other Dayanim over there also. So the Gemara says Shalom Bezdin Hava. He wasn't in Bezdin. Okay, so far we got out of it. Rav is good. Mod B'nas V'yachach Bo Edom is potter. Could be potter.
Right.
No right against him.
You had been discussing yesterday that if someone was saying that he killed so and so, and then that person that he says killed walks in, they don't consider him Edom Zomim.
Not Edom Zomim, but they surely lie.
They surely lie.
Yes.
Does it make any difference right now if Rabbi Lez's Eved would come in before the Modeh?
No, we don't know.
with
We
a
don't
missing
know.
eye?
No, we don't know who.
Does that
we don't know how it
that
happened.
wouldn't tie Rabbi Leon on anything?
No, because we don't know who says the master did it.
A Modeh wouldn't could his Modeh be supporting that?
No, because it doesn't. No,
Does
it only would be on his own word. It wouldn't be the fact that the evidence blinded. That doesn't show anything. Doesn't show who blinded him.
Even if they haven't said who blinded him.
Right.
Right. That also doesn't mean anything. Okay, but there was another brisa. But Tanya, this brisa is a little different version. This version says that Rabbi Yeshua told him that he's not going to go free because you were moda. This is mamish opposite. This is what we were saying. You should have said. The brisa does say. This brisa says that Rabbi Yeshua told him it's too late because you are moda. It doesn't say because there are no edim. It's much even if there are edim. That according to this version of the brisa, Rabbi Yeshua told him that it's too late. It's not going free because you are moda, and that means moda b'knas v'yachkach bo edim is still potter. This is almost like Rav. Rav's very happy with this brisa. It seems to be a machlokes on these two brises. The second brise seems to be for sure like Rav, that once you're mode, it's too late. I don't care if they're Edom. Once you're mode, it's too late, it's not going free. And the first brise, like we started saying, that it's mashma because there are no Edom. If there would be Edom, because here it's talking about that there was a good Hodah. This brise says it was a good Hodah. And Bezdin, Rabbi Shua, Bezdin, whatever. And the other Bryce also will explain that the same story, that it wasn't Bezdin. And still, the reason why he's not going free is because there are no Edom. But if there would be Edom,
even if he molded, he'd still be
high, but still be free. So the one wants to say that this issue is Malchokus Tanoah. The one says low, not necessarily. The Kul Yamamod B'Knas V'Yachach Bo Edom is potter. Everybody can hold like ground. L'Vaka Miflagi. Hai Tana Dama Shekvar Ein Locha Edom Savachos LeBezdin Hava. The arguing on the case, what happened? In the din, nobody argues. Everybody agrees that if he would have been Moda first, then even if Edom would come later on, he wouldn't go free. The machlokin is what was the case? Was the story that he went to, was he Moda in Bezdin? Or was Moda just Rabbi Shua out of Bezdin? Was Rabbi Shua in the street? Was Rabbi Shua in the Bezdin? Everybody would agree that if he would have been Moda, an official Hadah in Bezdin, so then he wouldn't go free, even if Edom come later on. So Rav fits with the story either way. But it's not a proof, like we said. It's not. It is a proof. The second price is a proof, right? There's a proof to Rav now. The one says Shekvar Odisa, so that means once you know that's over. That is potter. Now the Gemara goes into the subject. I think there shouldn't be a two doubts over here because we're now opening up the subject. Itmar, Mod B'Knas B'Yakach Bo Eidim. This is what we're talking about. Bava Kamma Shmuel Amachayev. So this is news. We didn't know about Shmuel till now, and now Shmuel's on the scene, and he argues in Rav. Before the Gemara said the Mishnah is mashma like him. The diak about Eidechad similar to Mod B'Knas, but the Mod that it's not an exemption. It's just not enough to be Mechayev. That's what Shmuel says, but Rav says Potter. And this we had already a long time ago. In my time of the Rav who says that he's Potter, even if Eidim come later on. How does he get it from? Where's the source? The pasuk of Imatzei, Si Matzei, B'Yado Aganeva. You can see the pasuk over here. If the Gneva is found in his hand, an ox, a donkey, a sheep, live, in contrast to being slaughtered, so then he pays double. That's kefil. And this pasuk is extra. The Gemara says over there that he learned it out from other places already. The din of kefil, it says a few times. So the Gemara dashes and that's a double lashon also that we're going to fashion that if it's found, then it's found. The Gemara dashes if it's not that he was moda, it was found with Eidim. Here's the drasha: the Eidim, if the way that it was found was by testimony of Eidim, so then the Dayanim are the ones who are gonna. That's called the Dayanim found it. They found out. How did they find out? Because the Eidim told them. But if he's the one who gave us the information, it's not enough to be mechayiv. Pratam Mashiach Sasma, this comes to exclude if somebody made himself guilty without Eidim coming, so he's not chayiv. And that's not enough to show you yet Moed B'Knas V'Yakach Bo'edim is Potter. That's only Moed B'Knas. Maybe this Rosh only tells you Moed B'Knas is Potter. But Lamali, why would you need this pasuk? There's another pasuk that tells us Moed B'Knas is Potter. In short, the Gemara is saying there are two psukim that say Moed B'Knas is Potter. You don't need two psukim that say the same thing. It must be telling you a chiddush. Even if Eidim come later on, he's still Potter because not only is it not enough to be mechayiv you, it's an exemption. And that's the other pasuk that they brings on the side over here. That which the Bezdin says that he's guilty, he has to pay kefil. So again, only if the Bezdin is mechayiv him, and that comes to exempt to exclude that if he was Mashiach Sasmo, if he made himself guilty. So how come you have to have two psukim? The fact that you have two psukim to tell you the same thing, they must be telling you a chiddush that not only is Moed B'Knas not enough to be mechayiv you, it's even enough to exempt you. And even if Eidim come later on, he's still not chayiv. That's going to be the source of Rav. What is Shmuel going to do with that extra pasuk? Which is chazing over the sugi over there. Before we had that, let's put that over here. That takes care of the psukim. The question over there was, but over there talks about a story in a couple of psukim later on, pasuk Bava and Zayin, if I remember correctly over there, that it spoke about that the Shomer said that it was stolen, and it says if the ganav is found, if the ganav is not found. And there's a question over there how to darshan the psukim at the beginning of the parak. The one Russia said that both of them are talking about Toin Tanis ganav. It's not talking about a ganav asmo, not about actual ganav that's chayv kefil. It's about somebody who was the Shomer. The Shomer said it was stolen, and he would say ganav. They darshan that it means if the ganav was found, means he was the ganav. It's not the pasuk shad in the pasuk. And then in Loyim Batzei Ganav, they also learned that the outside Ganav was not found. He was the Ganav. So you can learn into the Psukim that it's a case of a Shomer who was towing Tana's Ganav. They claimed that it was stolen, and that's a chiddush that a towing Tana's Ganav also pays kefil. Not only actual thief that robbed, but somebody who was given to it beheter. He was took it as a pikadon to watch, and then he decided to steal it. Then he said it was stolen. Not only that he decided to steal, but he has to say it was stolen. If he says that it was lost, it wouldn't be towing Tana's Ganav. That's how Russia we had at the beginning of the parak that Ton Tanas Ganav was also chayv kefil. In the psukim, there was a question how you learned the psukim over there, and some learned that both those psukim, Yimotzei Ganav and Lo Yimotzei Ganav, all that's talking about Ton Tanas Ganav. And the Gemara Kasha at the end of the sugi over there. So where's the pasuk for actual Ganav? And the Gemara says you needed a pasuk. It's not just a kal v'chomer because the Ton Tanas Ganav was only chayv kefil if he swore that it wasn't, he didn't steal it, and then found out later on that it did. We found out that he did. But a ganav is chayiv kefil even if he did not swear. So you have to have a special pasuk for a ganav. And where's that pasuk? So one Rasha said from this pasuk. It's coming to talk about a ganav atzmo. That's the Gemara over there. There's a drasha that Shmuel will say you need this pasuk for. So we can put all this in parentheses if you want. This was the my timer. The Roshas of Rav and how Shmuel is going to answer it, but that's not going to continue into the sugya. So we have Machlokas Rav and Shmuel. If Moed B'Knas V'Yakach Ba'Odim is Pater. Say the question again, just to say, is it just not enough to be Mechayev? It's not enough evidence to make him Chayev, if his own admission, or that it's exemption, and even if he come later on, he's already exempt. Rav says Pater, Shmuel says Chayev. Eis Fei Rav L'Shmuel. Kasha from a Brisa. The Ganav saw that Edom are coming. Edom are coming to Bezdin. He knows that they saw him. And he's not such an innocent guy that it's not just a tzaddik of a guy. He just knows that if he doesn't admit, the Edom are going to come to Bezdin and say that he stole. So he saw the Edom that were coming. I don't know what the word literally means, to be mamashmesh. It's an expression used, but I don't know literally what it means. The idea, coming closer and closer, like that. So, Vama ganafti, havalot tavachti v'lo macharti. So he went to Bezdin right away and he said, I stole. But I didn't slaughter. And really, he did slaughter. And they came and said that he stole, and he also slaughtered. So what would you say? On the Geneva, even though he's not a great guy, but the Maisi was Moda. So Moda B'Knas is part. He doesn't pay the kefir. But not a Dalabeh, he should pay.
Yeah. But you can't because you.
Right. There's no din of Dalabeh. There's only a din. There's no din of Gimel V'Dalad. It means for ox, you only pay 5 times. If it's not going to be 5, it's going to be nothing. It means, so since the kefir is off, in other words, Dalabeh.
Going out to 3.
And that's such thing. Go down to 4. The Karen has to pay. And since he's not paying the double, so there's no din of Dalabeh without being kefir. It's only addition of the kefir, which is a chiddush. But that's learned out that the din of Dalabeh is only top of the kefir. Here, he got rid of the kefir. He's more than a kefir. He's not going to be chayv Dalabeh. It doesn't say the end of the story. The end of the story is going to be that the Edom came and said, Ganav Tabach Mocha, and still he doesn't pay. Karen because he was Moed B'Knas on the Karen. There's good hodah, even though it was because of the pressure that he knows sees that they're coming. That's why he did it. But Maisi was Moed.
It was a Talmud Chacham. He didn't have to lie. He wouldn't have made a difference. He could have admitted once he said that I got Ganav, that he should have said, and I also shafted it because he's still not going to pay. He's not paying kefil, so then he wouldn't pay the Dalabeh. So he didn't have to lie because it was a lie for no reason.
I hear.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did Rav want to prove from this? This is a case. Now, what's the story here? What is the story here? It doesn't say openly, but it says that he came, he saw Edom coming, and he said, it only pays the Karen. Obviously, the story is that the Edom came to business. End of the story. That doesn't have to speak it out. The end of the story was that the Edom did come, and it's still potter. But you Rav, say that if somebody was Moed B'Knas V'Yakach Ba'Odim, is potter. Here it says that here. I'm sorry, this is Rab's talking. Rab brings right that you potter. According to Shmuel, what's the difference if he was Moed? Edom came afterwards. So this is a kasha Rab asked to Shmuel. That they didn't come. They saw that he was modest, that they didn't testify, which is really not the question on the Brisa. The Brisa is saying the fact that he saw them coming, that's why he's modest. And even if they come now, he's still going to be potter. That's the question.
Because they say, why should we start off? They'll say he was mine, he's going to pay back what he stole.
But lo tavachti v'lo macharti. No, that's a huge chiddush. Now he comes and they say Tabach Mocha. They see him lying. There was Tabach Mocha. And they're still going to be potter. That's a big chiddush.
Yeah, as long as Yaakov gets his money back for the stolen.
But he should get another 3 times. He should get more. Okay. He should get 4 times. Okay. So Shmuel tried to say that. It's not going to stay, but the Shmuel tried to say. But the Tani Sefer, the Gemara continues. The price continues. There's a man that argues. That the Edom should come. The Edom should come. What does that mean? That they are going to be Mechayiv more than he was Mechayiv himself. He only was Mechayiv himself, Karen. And now he said Ganavti, and now he says the Edom should come. What should Edom come for? The Gemara understands they're going to, because he is going to pay kefir. Moed B'Knas V'Yakach Ba'Odim is going to be Chayiv.
Okay, would this also would this make him would this affect him for like testimonies and things in the future if you had a come saying opposite of him?
Well, that is a lie.
That is a lie.
Yeah.
It's not a. It's a question of a ganav. It's a ganav because
Without the Edom, he's not proven as a.
right.
Okay,
He's
so
more
that's
than
my
himself.
question. If he's more than himself,
He's
does
more
he
than himself
get
doesn't
does
make
he
him
get that
to.
stamp?
I don't know. Nice question. If a ganav is a gazlan is puzzle for edus. If someone on himself was molded that he was a gazlan, does that make him puzzle edus, or only if Edom say so?
So then it would say then there might be a reason for them still to come even. If it does
No, but the
get-
mashma here is that he's going to be
It's
he's going to be high. Now, just to point out that this thing about paying only 5 and not 4, 4 and not 3, if he doesn't pay carefully, he doesn't pay the al that seems to be accepted by everybody. That's not the subject over here. And Tanakama says that he only pays Karen, even though Edom came later on the kefil part, Gunnar. So he only pays kefil. And Abelazar says, step right up, and they should be tested, say testimony. What does that mean? That Moed B'Knas V'Yakach Bo Edom is yes chayiv. So Shmuel says, so the Gemara asks first that you see that the cases that they did come, and Tanakama still says that he's potter. You see, Moed B'Knas V'Yakach Bo Edom is potter. So Shmuel gave in over here. Michlal Tanakama is over low. They see Tanakama holds that even if the Edom come and testify, it's not worth anything because he was already Moda. So that's Rav's right himself that Moda B'Knas is potter even if Edom come later on. Amalei Shmuel, La'Bika Abelazar Reb Shimon, the Koi Kavah say, I know Dami Abelazar Reb Shimon. So at this point, Shmuel gave in. You're right. Tanakama is against me, but Abelazar Reb Shimon is like me. You're right. This is machlokes. This issue of he was molded that he said when he saw Edom coming, so he went to Bezin and said Ganavti. So according to Tanakama, he's potter from the kefil. According to Reb Shimon, he's chayiv from the kefil.
And that's saying a lot when you quote Rav Shimon.
Yeah, okay. So Shmuel, so he has to give in that it's only Reb Shimon against Tanakama. Maybe it's Rabbanan. I don't know. Doesn't say the name. But Shmuel says that it's a machlokus tanam. Our machlokus now, we found a machlokus tanam about it. Now the Gemara wants to say, does Rabbi have to give in to that? Does Rabbi also have to say that Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon is against him? L'Shmuel v'alei tanoi, l'Rav milei tanoi. Shmuel has to say it's a machlokus tanam. Does Rabbi also have to say it's a machlokus tanam? Amalach Rabbi, and Adam yafilu Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. Ad kan Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon hasam elam mishum deko modi machmas biasusa de'edim. We saw that this is a little not so nice. The reason why he's being modi is because he sees the Edim coming. This is how you say shvach. It's chalash. It's shvach kind of hodah. He knows that Edim are coming. If he comes like tzaddik, I'm going to be moda. So then we can understand that moda b'knas v'yachkach bo Edim is pattern. It is considered hodah. They see that pakach is mash meishu.
Just 20 people are running in the middle. Especially not 20. That's a couple. Very often.
So this is not such a good hodah. So it is going to be enough of hodah. It's called hodah that you can't be mechayiv him on his word, but it could be that this extra exemption that he's also not going to pay, even if Edom come later on, it's only if it's an authentic hodah that he did on his own. So that Rav could say that that's the machlokus over here. Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon that says over here that it's not enough to exempt him is only because it was a weak kind of hodah. He only was molded because the Edom were coming. So over there he says that's not going to part to you. It's not going to be an exemption. If the Edom don't come, okay, so you were molded, we're not going to be machayiv you on your own. But the Edom the Maisa did come. So that's what Rav says. That the only case of Elazar Shimon says that if the Edom come later on, he has to pay is because his hodah was only because of the fear of the Edom. The word biasusa means fear. You find that in the Megillah Esther. The word nivas is Aramaic usually, and there's some words in that Megillah Esther also coming from different languages maybe. So biasusa the Edom because of the fear of the Edom. That's why Moda b'Knas v'Yachkach bo Edom. Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon holds his chayiv. But a regular case, he also would be Moda. Abalacha the Moda miyatzma feel Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon Moda that Moda b'Knas v'Yachkach bo Edom is potter.
What's going to prove that? Let's say the timing.
What is that?
If it's that he saw the Edom coming,
Right, that's the case.
then them coming would make a difference because it would be miyad, right?
Meaning
They'd show up right after his moed.
Yeah.
Well, in another case, are we saying that's not how it is? There'd be
Yeah, no, we don't. We don't
Usually
see
be
that
a
the reason.
space of time.
We don't see that's not do with time as much as do we see that the reason why he's being molded is because he knows Edom are going to come. If he doesn't come,
How do we do that?
right? So here the case was that. So Tanakama says no difference. Tanakama says molded b'Knas v'Yachkach bo Edom is potter, and Shmuel has to give in that Tanakama says that even in this extreme case where it wasn't such a good order. But Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon is questionable. Shmuel will say that he holds molded b'Knas v'Yachkach bo Edom is always high. Nothing to do with the special case. And Rav says only the special case over here he said it's high because it was the weak kind of hoda. But a strong hoda, Rav still keeps to his position that everybody will hold like me. Moed b'Knas v'Yachkach bo Edom is potter. Amar Rav Amununa. Mistavra will say the Rav Omer Ganavti Ubo Edom Sheganav potter. Sharei Chi Vatzmo B'Keren. This is all going to be Rav Amununa. We'll just point out this is Rav Amununa, which is going to be questioned. Will be an issue about People argue on him. So Rav Hamnuna said that it's reasonable to say that Rab only said this big ptor of Moed B'Knas v'Yachach B'Edim is Potter is only if the Hodah obligated himself something. It means the Hodah, besides pottering him, it also was obligated him something. Let's say the case of Ganafti. He said, I stole, and Adam came and then Adam came and said that he stole. So I was going to say Moed B'Knas v'Yachach B'Edim is Potter because his Hodah did obligate him something. It obligated him to Karen. That the principal, he does have to pay on his own word. He just doesn't have to pay the kefil. Thank you. Thank you. So Rav Hamnuna says that Rav probably only holds Moed B'Knas v'Yachach B'Edim is Potter was a real hodah that he at least obligated himself for something. Like saying that I stole, so he has to pay the Karen, he has to pay the principal that he stole. It's a ptor for the kefil. Sharechi, that's what we're Karen. He obligated himself at least to Karen. Aval, Omologa Nafti. Uvo Edim Shaganav. Because of Ama Tabachti and Mocharti. Uvo Edim Shatavach and Mochar. Chayev. Sharei, Potter Asma Mikulam. What if his Odah didn't accomplish anything to obligate him? It only pottered him. Here the case would be that case, let's say, he said, I didn't steal. Or a kid said, Adam came. Well, Adam Shaganav. Adam came that he stole. So he has to pay kefil. Yes,
That's not being molded.
That case wasn't molded. This case, it wasn't molded, right? He wasn't molded, the Gneva. But then he was molded on the slaughtering. And then Adam came and said that he slaughtered. Molded B'Knas v'Yachach Bo Adam. On the Tvicha, on the slaughtering.
So he admits to the slaughtering. That
So he shouldn't be chayiv.
Does that include that he stole? Doesn't that?
It's too late. No. He's already indicted. He's already, he already, the Adam came. He tried to get out of it, didn't work. Adam came, so he has to pay. Okay, he has to. I'm sorry. The first case was he didn't try to get it. He said Ganafti.
No. He said no
Ganafti. I'm sorry. Right, Lo Ganafti. Right, Adam came. He Adam came. He wasn't molded.
Right.
He wasn't molded, and really Adam came and said he did steal, so he has to pay kefil. Now he wants to get out of the Dalet Vei. So he commits Dalet Vei, and then Adam come and say Tavach Mocha. So shkoyach, like he only said Moed B'Knas. He only was Moed on the Dalet Vei because he wanted to get potter. The being Moed on the Gneva, he also wants to get out of the kefil, but at least he's obligating himself to pay the Karen. So it's chashuv a kind of odah. But if the odah just accomplishes that it should be potter, he is potter as long as they don't come. It's true that Moed B'Knas, even if it doesn't potter chayiv him anything, many Moed B'Knases are like that. Here, by Gneva, it happens to be that it's chayiv the Karen and it's potter from the kefil. There are other kinds of knasas, shloshim shalevet, for instance, that. So he comes and says the Bezdin, my ox killed an Eved, so he's potter because Moed B'Knas is potter. There are knasas that are just going to be just pottering himself, but that the chiddush that Rab said that Moed B'Knas is potter was only a kind of a Moed B'Knas, which at least was mechayim something. So, and the case I said as well that if the case was the kefil, a hodah the kefil, so then he'll be potter even if Eitim come later on. But hodah that's only on the tvicha mechira, which he wasn't, so it doesn't get him. It doesn't mechayim him anything. And that Rab didn't say that he's potter. But there, Rab's going to that he's chayiv. And he said in the Stavra, he said it from Sfar alone. And now the Gemara goes back and says it's very smart what the Gemara does, how the Gemara makes the whole structure. The Gemara is going to say, what was the case in the Rabbi Gamliel? We had it today, the story of Rabbi Gamliel, that he's very happy that he blinded his Eved in a way his Eved is going to go free. No question over there is Moed B'Knas v'Yachach B'Edim is potter. Rabbi Yeshua said it's too late, you were molded already. Whatever the case was. But the Gemara there brought that into the subject. Rav Chisda asked Rav Huna from that case that you see Moed B'Knas according to the version that it said there are no Edim. The beginning, the first version was that Yeshua told them it's not going to help because there are no Edim. Mashpeh if there would be Edim, then Moed B'Knas v'Yachach Bo Edim would be chayiv. He would go free. The Gemara wanted to ask the Kasha on Rav. I used to Rav Chisda. We can go back to the Gemara just to see it inside the bottom of Amud Beis. This Kasha over here. I used to Rav Chisda Rav Huna. Rav Huna used to have the name of Rav. Moed B'Knas v'Yachach Bo Edim is potter. The story was Rav Gamliel was very happy that he blinded his slave by mistake, that at least he'll go free now. And Rabbi Yeshua told him, you don't have any Eidim. So he doesn't go free. It's only Yehuda. So Moed B'Knas, it's a Knas that ever goes free. when his eye or tooth is fallen. And the Gemara would arrive with that. That's only because there are no Edom. If there would be Edom, even though he was mowed already, he would go free. That's called Moed B'Knas V'Yakach Bo Edom is Chayev. Right? That was the cheshbon of the Gemara before. This is not a case of a Moed B'Knas which is not B'Chayev himself anything. This is like the case of when he says, "I blinded my Eved." Is he say I have to pay something? He's not saying I have to pay anything.
No,
He doesn't have to pay
that-
Eved. No, only if he's going to take out his tooth also now. Only if now he's free now if the damage is him. But this alone just has to free his Eved. And now he doesn't have to free his Eved. So somebody who did this, somebody who knocked out his Eved's tooth, he goes to Bessin and he's mowed there. So what happened? So he doesn't go free. Nothing happened. So he didn't obligate himself anything. And you say that according to that Rav Moden, such a kind of a Moden B'Knas, if they didn't come later on his Chayiv. So then the kasha wouldn't be a kasha at all. If Chris asked the kasha to Rav Huna, Rav holds Moden B'Knas V'Yachach Bo Edom is Potter. This story says that he's Chayiv. Rav Huna should have answered him that this case he wasn't Machayiv himself anything. That kind of Moda Rav was also Moda. Mistavra Rav also is Moda in this case that the Edom that come later on is going to be Machayiv him. Cheshbon is good. If Anuna said that Rav only says Mod B'Knas V'Yachach Bo Edom is Potter, if the Hodah was a Choshev Hodah that at least was Machayiv himself something like Kefel, so at least he's paying the Karen. But a kind of a Mod B'Knas which doesn't Machayiv him anything, it's true it's not enough to be he's Potter. But if Edom are going to come later on, Rav's also going to agree that that kind of Hodah is not enough to Potter him indefinitely. So then Rav Chis's kasha wouldn't have been a kasha. The case of Rav Gamliel, it's true. The case of Rav Gamliel, Rabbi Shua said that if there would be Edom, he would go free if the Edom would come, because Rav also agrees on such a kind of Hodah, which wasn't such a Choshev Hodah, it wasn't B'chayiv himself or anything, that Rav also would agree that the Edom are B'chayiv him. So the kasha wouldn't be a kasha. And that's what the Gemara puts into this subject now. The question of the gears over here. Amar Rava. Kipachti the Sabbath debate Rav Huna, Sabbath debate Rav is Rav Huna. Rashi brings down the Gemara in Sanhedrin that the elders of the yeshiva of Rav, that's Rav Huna. That's another name for Rav Huna. And the point is to say that this is against Rav Huna. Rav Hamnuna, what you said is against Rav Huna. Either the Gemara means to say that it seems that Rav Hamnuna is a kasha on Rav Hamnuna's point is challenging Rav Chisda and Rav Huna who didn't think of this. Rav Chisda and Rav Huna, he had a kasha, he didn't say the teretz, he had a different teretz. They didn't think of Rav Hamnuna because according to Rav Hamnuna, that doesn't make sense. The kasha wouldn't have been a kasha. So I had to fit into the words exactly. Rashi says either tziyati, that I or Rav Hamnuna. Tziyati, where's that? Oh, here it says yesh ready tshuva lakapech. The have something to. The way Rashi says it, it comes out that this is a kasha on Rav Hamnuna. Rav Chisda and Rav Huna are kasha on Rav Hamnuna. So he says a different quotation from Rashi. Tziyarta talmidim shel beis hamedrash she'amar davar she'eino, because Rav Huna knows better than you. It seems the way that they translate the Gemara that this is that it's a kasha on Rav Hamnuna. The point is that Rav Hamnuna is different than Rav Chisda and Rav Huna. Both of them didn't hold this difference, even if it would be a kind of odah which didn't inflict upon himself any kind of obligation. He still Rav holds Moed B'Knas V'Yachach Bo Edom is Potter, and Rav Hamnuna holds differently. That Rav would agree that Moed B'Knas V'Yachach Bo Edom was going to be chayiv if it wasn't a chashav odah that was machayiv himself something. So I don't know how to read it. Who's knocking off who? But the Gemara is going to continue with Rav Hamnuna being right. So I'm not sure how to read it exactly. But the point is, like the Gemara says now, that Rav Gamliel Potter Asma Maklum Hava. When Rav Gamliel was saying that I knocked out my slave's eye, he wasn't coming to machayiv himself anything. He just wanted to pater himself. Not that he wanted to. He really had an emotional thing. He didn't know this. But we don't care about the emotions, what he wanted. He wanted to free him. The point is that he wasn't machayiv himself anything. He just was patering himself because he said that my slave goes free. So he's moda b'knas, and he doesn't pay anything. The kamalei of Chisda Rav Huna, the lo kamishani lei, and Rav Chisda asked the kasha to Rav Huna on Rav, and he didn't answer him. So you see that they didn't hold like you say. But I'll just put this in parentheses because the Gemara is continuing with Rav Hamnuna. So if we could, we'll put down this point that Rav Chisda and Rav Huna didn't hold this. But meanwhile, this will be in parentheses. And the Gemara continues with others that are going to hold like Rav Hamnuna, that if it wasn't the chashav odah, he wasn't chayiv himself anything. So Rav Knas V'Yachach Bo Edom is chayiv. Itmar Nami, Yom Rabbi Rabbi Yochanan. This is going to be Rabbi Yochanan also is going to say the same thing. Kanafti bo edim shaganav pater shabechi vasmo b'keren. If he is moda that I stole, and then Edim come and say that he stole, so it's a moda kanas v'yachach bo edim pater, like Rav said, because it's a chashav oda. He vasmo b'keren. At least he himself keren. So that kind of oda paters him even if Edim come later on. Avaloma loganavti. Uvo edim shagana. Because of Amaktabachti Machati, Ubo Edim Shatabachu Machayiv. The Mamish the case of Nuna said, if he was Chayiv Kefil, the Edim said he's Chayiv, he didn't mold that, and then he was molded on the Trichum Machiv, which was just part of him, and then the Edim came, Shatabachu Machad, then he is Chayiv, Sharei, Paterasmo Miklum. He didn't pater himself from anything. Paterasmo from nothing. So Mamish the same thing as Rav Nuna said. Amar Rav Ashi. I'm going to bring a raya both from a Mishnah and a Brisa that Rav Nun is right. So Rav Ashi is also on this side, and he's going to bring a Mishnah and a Brisa. Here goes the Mishnah, a diak from our Mishnah, which also is very interesting. We started this today, and we have to put everything together. The Tanan, Ganav al Pishnai, I'm sorry.
Deka is to be Yak. What does it mean?
The idea is that it also points that it's what's a nice word in English is also meduyak that is so. It means the nuance of the Mishnahs and the Brisa are also mashma. We could be medayik, whatever. How would you translate? We could be medayik. We could infer. So the Mishnah and the Brisa also infer that this is so. That Rav Nun is right. That Rav would agree that Moed B'Chnas V'Yakach Bo Edim is going to be chayiv if it wasn't a strong hodah, which at least obligates himself something. So I'll just try to say the raya outside, then we'll see it inside. The Mishnah, the Gemara started off, the first Gemara started off against Rav. How do I do this? Up over here. The Gemara started off, the first Gemara said, why isn't it the Pashat Eid Echad is Pashat Eid Echad Pshita? And the Gemara said, that is a diuk. There's a diuk over here that Al Piatzmo is similar to Al Pi Eid Echad. Just like Al Pi Eid Echad is not a indefinite tour. It just means as long as another eight doesn't come. It does not enough to be mechayivim, but it's not an exemption. So still to Al Piatzmo is not an exemption, just as long as they didn't come. But if Eidim would come, he would be chayiv. And that the Gemara pointed out is against Rav. We said out, La Fuke from Rav, because Rav holds that Moed B'Chnas V'Yakach Bo Edim is potter. So we stopped over there. The Gemara had 2 dots even in this Gemara has 2 dots, as if it's over. It's against Rav. Mishnah is against Rav. Ein Ma'ala. So the Gemara did bring afterwards a Brisa like Rav with the story about Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Gamliel, but the Mishnah was against Rav. Now the Gemara is going to say that maybe it's not against Rav. Look at the case of the Mishnah. The case was that Ganav al Pishnayim, there were 2 Eidim that said that he stole. So what was the whole Odah about? That the Tavach HaMachar al Piatzmo, that he admitted about the Tavach HaMachar, that he admitted. And the diak was that if Eidim would come, he's going to be chayiv. So very nice. Now Rav says, Rav is smiling now. Before Rav was concerned that the Mishnah is against him. But now that Rav Nun explained that Rav is moda, that if it was a hodah which only patered him and it didn't obligate him, that kind of hodah doesn't pater him after Eidim come. So Rav was very happy with this diak. The diak is not against him anymore. The Mishnah is not against him because the case that the Mishnah chose to tell us that Al Piatzmo is similar to Eid Echad, that if Eidim come later on, he is chayiv, is in this case. This case is where the Geneva was Al Pishnayim, and the whole Hodah that he came, Al Piatzmo was only on the Tavach HaMachar, which only partners him. So that kind of Hodah, Rav also agrees if Eidim are going to come later on, he's going to be chayiv. So beautiful. Is it beautiful?
Yeah.
Everybody's happy? It's a piece of artwork, this Gemara. Listen, the Mishnah is meduyek like Rav Nuna. The Tnan, Ganav al Pishnayim, Tavach HaMachar al Pi Eid Echad, Al Piatzmo, Misham Tashlum Kefa, then Tashlam Bava Kamma. That's the Mishnah that said that is no Dalet Vehei if it was only an Eid Echad or was admitted at Piatzmo. Lama leave the Tani Ganav al Pishnayim. This Chiddush said it wants to tell you that Eid Echad cannot be mechayiv or Hodah is not mechayiv. Why does it give such a fancy case that the Geneva was with 2 Eidim? And the Dalet Vehei was only Al Pi Eid Echad Al Piatzmo. Kefil was also a Knas. It could have said the same thing. It could have said the whole story, the whole package. The Geneva, Tficha Machira, was Al Pi Eid Echad or Al Piatzmo. He's potter. on the whole thing. The Mishnah says there was a Geneva. They made up the story. It didn't really happen. It's a story that the Mishnah, that's an area the Mishnah is telling. So I gave a case that the Geneva was with Eidim and the Tabach Machar was with Eid Echad or Al Piatzmo. So he's chayiv the kefil and he's put there on the Talmud Hay. He could have said that the whole story. He didn't say anything. He wasn't. What? Let me see. There were no Eidim. Everything. Gonna be Tabach Machar Al Pi Eid Echad Al Piatzmo, and he's put on everything. Could have been just as nice. He could have told you the same chiddush that Eid Echad is not chayiv and Al Piatzmo is not chayiv v'kinas by talking about the kefil also. Listening, Gana v'tavachu mocher al pi edechad or al pi atzmo ve'enim mishal mela keren, and there's no kefil, there's no dollar day. Why doesn't it say that? It must be for the diak that we said. Amud beis elolav. It must be the reason why the Mishnah chose this case is because it wanted to teach you this din. Hakam mashmalan Gana al pi shnayim v'tavach al pi edechad or al pi atzmo hu de lo mechayiv atzmo the keren. Who dam rinan al piatzmo dumi de al pi edechad. The diak that we said in the Mishnah before, the first Gemara that said that the diak in the Mishnah is to say that al piatzmo is similar to Eid Echad, just like an Eid Echad is not an exemption, it's only not enough to be mechayiv him, so too al piatzmo is only, in this case, of Ganav al pishnayim, and the Tvichol Mechira was al piatzmo. Over there we say, ma al pi Eid Echad, ki asi Eid Echad mitzar padei mechayiv, al piatzmo nam ki also Eid mechayiv. This all was the Russian Gemara before, word for word, but the Gemara said in the beginning, the first sugya, just like an Eid Echad. If another Eid comes later on, they're going to combine to make him chayiv. So to al piatzmo, if Eid come later on, they're going to be chayiv. That's only in this case, the case of Ganav al Pishnayim. That over there, Ganav al Pishnayim means that his Odah of al Piatzma was only on something which didn't mechayiv him. It's only saying on Potter. Avol Ganav Tavach al Piedechad or al Piatzma. What if the case would have been everything was al Piatzma, the Chiyav Atzmo B'Keren, that his admittance did make him chayiv something, and made him chayiv the Keren. So then you wouldn't say that he's going to be chayiv if Eidim come later on. Lo minan al Piatzma dumid al Piedechad. Over there, we're not going to say that it's similar, and if Eidim come later on, he's going to be chayiv. So the Gemara changed the kasha on Rav to a riot to Rav Amnuna, Pshat and Rav. And Rav has a way to learn the Mishnah. Shmuel will say, like the Gemara said before, that Rav without this connection. Now the Gemara is making it even against Shmuel, because why did it pick such a case? It could have said an absolute case, and the Shmuel will be right. Yes, mashma, that only in this case is it's true that Modeh v'akach bo Eidim is chayiv. But in another case, the case where he is mechayiv himself, then Modeh b'knas v'akach bo Eidim would be potter like Rav. So this was the Mishnah that Rav Ashi meant to say is meduyik like Rav, like he said, like Rav Amnuna. That's where the word masnisin. And now the Gemara continues with the brisa. I also said that a brisa also is meduyik. I'm going to bring a brisa which also is going to be mashma like Rav Amnuna's pshat and Rav. Tanya. Ra Eidim shemamash b'shinubon v'amar ganavti avalot tavachti v'lo mocharti. Ein ha'mishalam melakeren. Did we have this? Yeah, I think so. This is what we had. That they saw Eidim coming, and he said, I stole. He was molded before the Eidim got there, but I didn't slaughter it. And Eidim came and said that he did slaughter it. He only pays Karen.
He said it before.
We had the same prices before.
Before he only said he stole it. He didn't talk about the tevach or the machor.
The Brisa and Amaral didn't say this whole case. This was the same Brisa as before. Let's see. Scrolling back, that's where Rabbi Elazar and Shimon argued over there.
I'm sorry. It's the same thing. I'm sorry.
Same right. So, okay. So here's the case that he was moda because he saw the Eidim coming, and that Hodah gets him through, so he's potter. But he said, I didn't toveh mocher. And it seems the Eidim came and said he was toveh mocher. So it only pays Karen. We said the reason is because Modeh Beknas Shmuel also was masking that this Tanakam was against him, and it says Modeh Beknas v'yakach bo Eidim is potter. And the reason why the toveh mocher is because he's not going to pay 4 and 5, he'll pay 3 and 4. There's no such thing. So that doesn't seem to be our issue so much. But you see that Modeh Beknas v'yakach bo Eidim is potter. Lama, so he wants to be like also that the Brisa shows a certain case. Why does it give such a case? Nisni ganavti otavachti machati. The words I don't get so well, but the idea that they explain is that let's say it wasn't a case that he's more on the Geneva. Let's say on the Geneva he did have to pay. You could have said the same scenario about him being to moda on the Tabicho Machira. Let's say it was already established that he was Chayv Geneva. The Adam came already last week and they testified against him that he stole and he had to pay the Geneva. He had to pay Kefil. And now the issue was about the Tvicho Machira. And he saw Adam that are coming to say that he slaughtered. And he went to Bezdin and said, I slaughtered. And he should say that he doesn't pay. It means the same din that the Brisa chose to tell you that Moda Benas V'Yakach Bo Adam is Potter. It was a case of the Geneva. On the Geneva, it says Moda Benas V'Yakach Bo Adam is Potter. Why doesn't it say about the Dalit V'Hei alone? Dalit V'Hei alone. That the Geneva is already has to pay for the Geneva. There's Adam. But on the Tavach HaMachar, I could have said a case that on the Tavach HaMachar, he was Moda, and then Adam came, and he's Potter. Must be, because it's not going to be Potter, because Rav only says Moda Benas V'Yakach Bo Adam is Potter if the Haudah was Mechayim himself something. But that's like by the kefil, that he's mechayiv himself at least the Karen. But on the vichol mechir, where he's not mechayiv himself anything, the was going to be chayiv. The fact that the Brisa shows one case over the other case shows that. El hakam ashmalan time of the Amar Ganafti, who the chayiv asmal b'Karen. That's why he's potter. Avalam lo Ganafti bo edem shagala b'chazav amar tabachti machati ubo edem shetavachum machar the lo chayiv asmal b'Karen chayiv. It must be because only in the case where he said I stole, that he at least obligated himself something for the Karen. Over there he's potter even if Adam come later on. But if he said that I didn't steal, and Adam came that he stole, which means that he's chayiv the kefil already, the Karen, the kefil, and now all the issues only on the tvichol mechira, and now he said that he was molded that he slaughtered it, and Adam came that he slaughtered it, that he didn't, his admittance didn't obligate him anything. Over there he's chayiv when the Adam come. So that Alma, I didn't finish yet. Alma, Odah, the Tvichol Odahi. So you see, you must see from here that kind of Odah that didn't chayiv him anything is not enough of Odah to part him if Adam come. So Rav Ashi thought that the Brisa also is a raya to Rav Amnuna, that Rav is going to be Moda if it wasn't a chashav Odah, that a chayiv was mechayiv him something, so he is going to be a chayiv if Adam come. But this the Gemara says not necessarily. Amri, just another couple of lines. Amri, lo, not necessarily. No. He could for Kamashman. It could be why the Brisa chose this case is because it wants to tell you a chiddush. The chivin damaganafti, afagav damalo tabachti, v'lo machati, uvo edim shetabach u'machar, pater. Means we said the chiddush a couple of times, or we said it's not the subject. But this chiddush, which is not the subject, is a chiddush. That if you don't pay kefil, you don't pay dalet v'hei. Because this halacha that it meant geneva and tvichol mechira, that the Torah only obligates you 5, not 4, not 3. So the payment of 5 times for a nox includes the kefil, and if you don't have the kefil, you're not going to pay just for the extra 4 times. You have to pay the Karen. One is Karen, then there's a kefil as a double, and then there's another 3 that the Torah makes you pay. Another 3 times the amount. But if there's not going to be a kefil, so you're not going to just give the 4 payments, the Karen plus another 3. That's a chiddush. We don't know that. I know. Yeah. So the Brisa wanted to tell you this chiddush. So it's true. It means you could say that Rav Nun is wrong, and really, once a person is mode, even on Hodah, which is a shvach Hodah, which is a chalash, even if it would have been Hodah, which is not mechayiv him anything, maybe that any Hodah is enough to partner him, even if Eitim come later on. So why did the Brisa not say that case? They wanted to tell you this case. They wanted to tell you the case where I could explain to you this chiddush, that if he was mode on the Geneva and there's no kefil, he's not going to be chayiv on the dalet v'hei, even if there are Eidim. Just see it inside. He go for commercial. That itself is wants to teach you that since he said ganafti, and he was more than his pater on the kefil, even though Afagav Damalo Tavachti below Machati and Adam came and said yes, Tavachomach. He wasn't more on the Tvichom Machira, but Adam came, so he should be chayiv on that. No, he's pater. My timer, Tashlumi Chamish Amrech Mana, below Tashlumi Abba, below Tashlumi Shlosha. That the Torah says for an ox 5, it doesn't say 4, and for a sheep it says 4, it doesn't say 3. So once there's no kefil, there's no dalet v'hei. That's the chiddush I wanted to tell you. So I had to say such a case where he was moda on the Gneva, not because the Gneva is a chashav moda, but because in this case, I'll tell you the chiddush that if there's no kefil, there's no dalet v'hei. So that's wouldn't be a raya. What do we have so far? We'll stop over here. We have the issue of moda v'kanas v'yachach moedim. Rav said chayiv, Shmuel said pater. Rav Amnuna said that even according to Rav, it's only if it was a chashava hoda that was mechayiv something, then it's going to be pater even if Eidim come. But if it was not mechayiv anything, it's not going to be pater if Eidim come and testify.
And you make Rav Gamliel's case as a support.
And that right, Rav Gamliel's case would be like that. Rav Gamliel's case would be right. It wouldn't be a kasha and Rav. You don't have to say the Tristan before that wasn't out done in front of Bezdin. it would be chayiv, right? That would Rabbi Gamliel, and also the
So-
Mishnah. The
Mishnah said sent the Adam should still say something. It should still come.
the Mishnah that is what the Mishnah was our Mishnah. That's a case of kefil. Ganav. How did the Mishnah go over here?
He saw the Adam coming.
No, that's the Bryce. What's the Gemara now is it's not. That's not the Gemara's going to say. Not a right. That's the Bryce, right? Right. That's right. That's not a right.
Why?
But then a second. But the Gemara did bring a source to Brian. This is going to be this Mishnah that gave a case of Ganav Abishnayim, which he didn't have to say because that a case of that also was the diuk that the Gemara said Ganav Vakach the Mhoda Vakach Boedim is chayiv. The Gemara said it on this Mishnah. This Mishnah is a case where it was that the Haudah was not a good Haudah, not such a chashav Haudah, because he wasn't chayiv anything. So Rav says in this case also, but the Gemara started off a kasha on Rav. Now the Gemara says no, it's a Rav is good, and with Rav Nuna's explanation, Rav fits with the Mishnah. And the last thing with the Mamash Pshinuvan, that the Gemara wondered why didn't the Bryce say this halacha of Modeh B'Knas V'Yakach Bo Edim in the case of the Tvicha? The answer is I wanted to tell you a different chiddush. I wanted to tell you that's not Shiraya. But there you can say he wanted to tell you the din that there's no Gnei, but there's no Tvicha Mechira. If there's no Chiv of Kefil, you're not going to pay 3 or 4. You only pay 4 or 5. So that's not a raya. But there's nothing is really attacking. We didn't attack Rav at all. The Gemara thought there was a Bryce which is a Tanoi. Shmuel does have to say it's a Tanoi, but Rav Elazar Rav Shimon only holds like. But Rav can say even Rav Elazar Rav Shimon agrees to me. If it, what did he say over there? That over there wasn't a good Odah because he saw the Edom coming. We know why he's being molded. He's being forced into it. But if it would be a real Odah, even Rav Elazar Rav Shimon would agree that Modeh B'Knas V'Yakach Bo Edom is Potter, and we paskin Modeh B'Knas V'Yakach Bo Edom is Potter. But it's not finished yet. The Gemara continues still. I didn't get further. But that will be tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem, at 3:30. Oh, yes, you go ahead. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. How far do you expect to get to?
I don't know, but that's a good question. I really should look ahead. We're on Ayin Hayam Beis. You see any 2 dots or anything like that? It looks like
the 2 dots.
it looks like Kachim.
Rabbi says don't believe the 2 dots.
I really don't know.
Ahmed
You
Aleph.
see, I know an Aleph. That's
That's not very
little-
much. Yeah.
Maybe, but the truth is, I see that the next page is Ayin Zayin and Aleph, a famous daf. Bava Kamma Ayin Zayin is the shortest daf in the Shas.
Wow.
In the Shas Vilna.
Maybe you can catch up. At least
A little bit. Okay,
Very good.
so I don't know exactly, but I'm sorry,
Okay.
I didn't look ahead. Thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Masha